this video is about. Osiris protects temple but Seth attacks. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Part 1. The Shroud of Darkness. In a realm where the sands of time whispered secrets of old, two divine brothers ruled. Osiris, the majestic god of the afterlife, and Seth, the cunning god of chaos and storms. This land, known as Kemet, flourished under Osiris's watchful eye, where the Nile caressed the earth with life and fertility. All revered the grand temple of Osiris, an edifice of stone and gold, glimmering under Ra's radiant gaze, a sanctuary where hope and reverence intertwined. Yet beneath the surface of this paradise, dark currents brewed. Seth, banished by the light of his brother's wisdom, seethed with envy. He lurked on the fringes of Kemet, plotting with shadowy allies, monsters forged from nightmares and twisted spirits of the damned. His heart swelled with malicious intent, yearning to plunge the realm into chaos, to snuff out the light that Osiris had nurtured. The temple stood as the heart of Kemet, a bastion where the souls of the departed would find peace. Here, Osiris conducted sacred rituals, guiding souls with a gentle hand into the afterlife. The air vibrated with the hymns of priests clad in white, and the scent of incense clung to all like a lover's embrace. Osiris, magnificent in his emerald skin and adorned with a crown of feathers, felt the weight of every soul he shepherded. It was a burden he bore with honor. But one fateful night, as the moon hung like a silver coin in the sky, the winds howled with foreboding. In the distance, a tempest brewed, Seth's harbinger of chaos. Osiris sensed the storm's malice, a shiver running through his spine, a whisper of an impending betrayal that threatened to shatter the sacred peace. Seth does not come with peace, Osiris murmured to the priests gathered at the temple. Prepare the wards, for darkness seeks to swallow the light. As the priests hastened to fortify the temple, a chilling laughter echoed through the night, insidious and vile. Seth emerged from the shadows, his eyes smoldering with fury and vengeance. Dear brother, do you not feel the thrill of a dance with chaos, the thrill of battle? His voice dripped with mockery, a cruel melody that chilled the hearts of all present. Osiris stepped forward, his presence radiating calm. Seth, this is not a game. You know the sacredness of this place. Leave while you still can. Leave? Seth's laughter rolled like thunder. But I have come to claim what is rightfully mine. The throne you sit upon should be mine, drenched in chaos and blood. And with a flick of his wrist, he summoned forth a horde of monstrous beasts, shadowy figures with eyes like burning coals and claws that dripped with poison. The priests gasped, fear gripping their hearts, but Osiris stood resolute, his voice a beacon amidst the gathering storm. You will not desecrate this sanctuary, Seth. Stand down or face the wrath of the gods. With a deafening roar, the chaos surged forward. The ground trembled as the beasts lunged at Osiris, but the god raised his staff, the ankh glowing with a divine light. By the power of life and death, I will protect this temple. A blinding flash erupted, and the air crackled with energy as Osiris unleashed a wave of brilliant light. The beasts recoiled, shrieking in agony, their forms melting away like shadows at dawn. For a moment, it seemed victory belonged to the light, but Seth's laughter rose above the chaos. Foolish brother, you think mere light can conquer me? He raised his hands to the heavens, summoning dark clouds that engulfed the moon, plunging the temple into darkness. Let the true battle begin. As the shadows deepened, Osiris felt the weight of despair clawing at his spirit. The warriors of Kemet, loyal followers of the light, emerged to defend their sacred ground. Clad in armor kissed by the sun, they raised their weapons in defiance. For Osiris, for the light, they roared, charging into the fray. But Seth's forces were relentless. They surged like a tide of night, clawing and biting, their howls mingling with the clash of steel. The battlefield was a maelstrom where honor clashed with treachery and ancient destinies twisted like a serpent. Osiris fought valiantly, his strikes precise and powerful, cleaving through the darkness. Protect the temple, he shouted, rallying the warriors with every ounce of strength he possessed. He parried a monstrous blow, sending the beast skidding back, before turning to see Seth weaving through the chaos, a tempest of destruction. "Brother, you cannot win," Osiris cried. "Your chaos will only lead to ruin. Ruins can rise anew, dear brother. I shall be the flame that purges the old." Seth countered, his eyes gleaming with madness as he unleashed a storm of lightning, sizzling and crackling toward Osiris. In that heartbeat, time stretched. The bolt struck like the spear of a vengeful god, a moment frozen between fate and choice. Osiris raised his staff, channeling the divine energy of the temple, crafting a shield of light just in time. The impact sent shockwaves through the air, and the warriors staggered under the force. As the dust settled, Osiris found himself face to face with the visage of his brother, Chaos incarnate. "You've become a mere shadow of what you could be, Seth. Let go of your hatred. Join me, and together we can create a new dawn." Seth's laughter resonated like a chilling echo, a sound void of empathy. "You think I desire your light? No, I am the storm, the chaos. I will drown Kemet in darkness, and you will watch as your precious temple crumbles." With a fierce cry, Seth summoned the tempest, swirling winds and torrents of rain crashing down upon the temple. The stone walls trembled, ancient glyphs glowing ominously as they absorbed the storm's fury. The priests clasped their hands in prayer, their voices rising to the heavens, calling upon the guardians of the temple for strength. But as the battle raged on, a single warrior broke through the chaos, a young hero named Anubis, chosen by the gods. He bore the weight of destiny on his shoulders, a fierce determination lighting his eyes. With a heart full of honor, he brandished his spear, his resolve unshaken. "Osiris, I will stand with you," he shouted, rushing to the god's side. "Together we can turn the tide." "Anubis, it is dangerous here," Osiris warned, but the youth would not falter. "I was chosen for this moment. I will not let your light fade." Osiris nodded, pride swelling within him. "Then let us fight as one for Kemet, for the light." And so, in that crucible of chaos, the two charged forward. Anubis, swift as the wind, darted through enemies, his spear weaving a deadly dance. He struck with precision, reminding all of the strength of the light. Osiris followed, his presence radiant, each swing of his staff sending ripples of energy, pushing back the darkness. But Seth, sensing the shift, unleashed his fury with a primal roar. "You cannot contain me." He hurled bolts of chaos like arrows, each one seeking the heart of order. The ground splintered and the air thickened with tension. As the battle raged, Osiris and Anubis fought side by side, a duel of light against the encroaching shadow. Yet Seth was relentless and the storm raged on, a harbinger of a darker fate. In the heart of the temple, where the sacred flame flickered, a prophecy began to unfold, a fate woven by the threads of the cosmos. No one could foresee the trials ahead, nor the sacrifices that would be demanded to preserve the light. But one thing was certain: the battle had only just begun. The echoes of destiny reverberated through Kemet as gods and mortals took their stand. Honor would be tested, tragedy would loom, and in the end, only the strongest souls would prevail. The fate of the realm hung in the balance, a tapestry of light and shadow, awaiting its final weave. Part 2. The Tempest's Wrath. The battlefield was a cacophony of clashing steel, anguished cries, and the crackle of raw magic as Osiris and Anubis stood resolute against the dark tide. The Temple of Osiris, a sanctuary of hope, trembled under the fury unleashed by Seth, whose storm raged like a primal beast. "Stand firm," Osiris shouted, his voice booming above the tempest, each word an invocation, rallying the warriors of Kemet with renewed vigor. But the shadows pressed closer, a relentless wave of claws and teeth. Anubis fought with the fervor of youth, his spear gleaming in the dim light. He darted past grotesque forms, monsters birthed from nightmares, their eyes burning like coals of despair. He felt the pulse of destiny coursing through him, a sacred charge compelling him forward. "We will reclaim the light," he bellowed, thrusting his spear deep into the belly of a shadow beast, its howl a testament to his resolve. Yet for every beast felled, 3 more emerged from the darkness, drawn like moths to the flame of chaos. Osiris swung his staff, a radiant arc of light that cleaved through the shadows, illuminating the battlefield. For Kemet, for the light, he roared, each word empowering the hearts of his warriors, igniting the embers of hope. Seth's laughter echoed through the maelstrom, a sound both mocking and revelatory. You fight valiantly, dear brother, yet your light is but a flicker in the storm I command. Watch as I unveil my true power. He raised his hands, fingers curled like claws, summoning the tempest to a snarl. Dark clouds loomed larger, swirling ominously, filled with electricity that crackled against the air. With a single gesture, he unleashed a torrent of lightning, a serpentine strike that sliced through the sky. Osiris raised his staff just in time, but the force was monumental, sending him staggering back, the ground shattering beneath him. Anubis, he cried, his voice strained, protect the priests. Anubis turned, his heart pounding. He dashed back through the chaos, dodging the onslaught of beasts, reaching the priests who remained trapped in fear. We must fortify the wards, call upon the divine. He urged, his voice fervent, and the priests rallied, their chants rising like a hymn against the storm. But the shadows swelled, and with them, Seth's wrath grew fiercer. You think you can bind me with mere words? He spat, his voice thick with contempt. I will drown your prayers in chaos. He surged forward, a whirlwind of destruction, claws slashing at Osiris with murderous intent. Osiris, gathering his strength, met Seth's assault head-on. The clash of their powers sent shockwaves throughout the temple, the very stones cracking under the weight of their divine struggle. This is not the way, brother. Together, we could create harmony. Osiris implored, his emerald eyes pleading. Seth sneered, his form twisting in the shadowy tempest. Harmony is a lie. Chaos is the true essence of life. I will tear down this illusion. He pulled forth a great beast, a leviathan of darkness, its form coiling and writhing as it surged toward Osiris with murderous intent. In that moment, Anubis, now shielded the priests, felt the weight of his destiny pressing upon him, a calling from the heart of the gods. Osiris, he shouted, his voice cutting through the din, we can't let him use the temple's power against us. We must unite our strength. Osiris, sensing the fire in Anubis's heart, nodded fiercely. Then let us become one with the light. Together, they raised their hands, anointing the air with a divine energy that resonated with the temple's ancient glyphs. The glow intensified, filling the space with warmth and hope. Seth's eyes widened, the storm's fury faltering just for a heartbeat. No, this is my domain. He hurled the Leviathan against them, a monstrous shadow that threatened to extinguish their light. But Osiris and Anubis stood side by side. Channeling their combined power, they unleashed a radiant beam of light, a spear of hope that pierced through the darkness. It struck the Leviathan, illuminating the air with a blinding brilliance. The creature shrieked, a wail of anguish as it was consumed by the light, its form melting away like wax under a flame. Seth staggered back, fury swirling in his eyes. You have only delayed the inevitable, Osiris. The true battle lies ahead. He clenched his fists, dark energy bubbling from his palms like a boiling cauldron. Then let it come, Osiris declared, his voice booming with resolve. For every soul you seek to destroy, 1,000 will rise to protect the light. As their voices intertwined, the winds shifted, and the storm began to churn with a different energy. The warriors of Kemet, inspired by their gods, surged forward, rallying around Osiris and Anubis. Their battle cries rose like a symphony, a brilliant anthem against the night. But Seth, with chaos coursing through his veins, summoned forth more of his dark minions. They emerged from the shadows, a tide of twisted forms, each more grotesque than the last. You will perish in this storm. I will bury Kemet beneath layers of darkness. He roared, his voice a tempest. The chaos surged once more, a wave crashing against the defenders of the light. Anubis fought with a fierce intensity, each thrust of his spear a testament to his devotion. He could feel the heartbeat of the temple resonating with his own, guiding his movements. "Osiris, we must protect the heart of the temple," Anubis shouted, noticing the ancient flame flickering perilously. It was their lifeline, the essence of hope that fueled their fight. "I will hold them back," Osiris declared, grounding himself, his body glowing with divine energy. "You must secure the flame, Anubis." With a nod, Anubis dashed toward the sacred altar, where the flame flickered, wavering under the pressure of the shadows. He could feel the weight of expectation upon him, the eyes of the gods watching, waiting. As he approached, a monstrous shadow lunged at him, clawed hands reaching for his throat. Anubis swerved, thrusting his spear into the creature's heart, but more surged forth, drawn to the light that flickered before them. "By the gods," he cried, channeling his fear into strength, "I will protect this flame." He leapt forward, piercing through the darkness, a blur of determination as the sacred glow pulsed around him. Meanwhile, Osiris faced Seth, who had transformed into a storm incarnate, electricity crackling around him. "You will pay for your defiance," Seth roared, unleashing a torrent of chaos as he threw his arms wide, the storm spiraling into a vortex of thunder and fury. Osiris, standing firm, raised his staff high, summoning the ancient energies of the temple. "You do not understand, Seth. This chaos will consume you, just as it seeks to devour Kemet." He conjured a barrier of light, enveloping himself in a cocoon of hope. The dark energy slammed against his shield, sending ripples through his form, but he held fast, fueled by an unyielding love for his people. As the battle raged, Anubis reached the sacred flame, feeling its warmth envelop him. He knelt and pressed his palms against the altar, summoning all that he was, the strength of the warriors, the prayers of the priests, the essence of Osiris himself. "Burn bright, sacred flame, ignite the heart of Kemet." The flame roared to life, radiating with an intensity that pierced through the darkness. Golden light surged forth, wrapping around Anubis, filling him with courage and purpose. He leapt back into the fray, wielding the power of the flame with newfound fervor. Together, he shouted, rallying the warriors, "We rise as one against the storm, for Osiris, for Kemet." With the flame igniting their spirits, the warriors fought like lions, their strength unwavering against the tide of chaos. Each strike was a testament to their honor and hope, pushing back against the shadows that threatened to consume them. In the heart of the tempest, Osiris and Seth clashed once more, the forces of light and darkness colliding with cataclysmic force. "You are nothing without your light," Seth bellowed, fury twisting his features. "And you are but a whisper in the face of eternity," Osiris countered, wielding his staff with the grace of the ages. The air crackled as their powers clashed, the very fabric of reality bending under the weight of their struggle. But the heart of the temple pulsed stronger, a reminder that even in the darkest hour, hope could rise. Anubis fought valiantly, his spirit intertwined with the essence of the flame, feeling invincible as he pushed through the darkness. "Feel the warmth of Kemet," he cried, charging toward Seth, spear glimmering with divine light. "You will not extinguish our flame." Seth turned, eyes blazing. Part 3, The Reckoning of Shadows. The storm raged overhead, darkness swirling like a living entity, while the temple of Osiris became the crucible of a battle that would etch itself into the annals of myth. The cries of warriors echoed through the night, their courage and fear intermingling as they charged against the insurmountable tide of chaos unleashed by Seth. Amidst the maelstrom, Osiris and Anubis stood as beacons of light, their resolve a testament to the power of hope against despair. "Feel the warmth of Kemet," Anubis shouted, his voice a clarion call as he charged forward with the divine light coursing through him. His spear, now a blazing extension of his will, struck true against the dark minions, each thrust resonating with the sacred energy summoned from the heart of the temple. Each blow he struck felt like an echo of his ancestors, a reminder of the lineage of warriors who fought and bled for Kemet. Seth, feeling the shift of power, turned his wrath upon the young hero. "You think you can stand against me, puppet?" His voice thundered like the storm itself, laced with malice. "I will crush you and reduce your people to ash." He summoned forth a legion of monstrous shadows, creatures that writhed and twisted, their grotesque forms born of pure chaos. But Anubis was undeterred. He met their onslaught with an unyielding spirit. "I am not a puppet, Seth. I am the embodiment of the light, and I will not let your darkness prevail." He danced through the shadows, his movements fluid and precise, striking with a ferocity that caught even the dark god off guard. Osiris, from his vantage point, felt the tide of battle shift. The warriors of Kemet surged with renewed vigor, emboldened by Anubis's fierce spirit. For Kemet, for the light. They roared, their unified cries piercing the veil of darkness like arrows of hope. With each clash of their weapons against the monstrous horde, they carved out pockets of light, reclaiming fragments of their sacred ground. "Your hope is a delusion," Seth howled, forcing a bolt of chaotic energy into the heart of the warriors, scattering them like leaves in a storm. The ground quaked under the weight of his power. "You will witness the ruin of your temple, and I will revel in your despair." Osiris stepped forward, his staff glowing with the radiance of 1,000 souls. "It is you who will despair, brother. You have forgotten the strength of unity, the power of the light that binds us." He summoned forth a wave of energy, casting it toward Seth, illuminating the tempest with divine brilliance. The dark god recoiled, but rage fueled his fury. "This will be your final stand, Osiris." Seth roared, and with a shriek, he unleashed a devastating wave of chaos, shattering the ground beneath his feet. The very air thickened with dread as the shadows coiled around him like serpents, drawn to his malevolence. As the chaos struck, Osiris felt the force reverberate through him, a powerful reminder of the stakes at hand. "Hold fast, warriors," he shouted, rallying them once more. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for every soul that has passed through this temple." Anubis, emboldened by his god's words, dashed forward, his spear piercing the heart of a lurking beast. Each battle cry, each death, seemed to augment his resolve, pushing him further into the fray. He charged toward Seth, the storm roiling with fury around him, his heart synchronized with the sacred flame, the essence of Kemet itself. "Face me, chaos," Anubis shouted, drawing Seth's attention. "Let us end this charade." Seth laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "You think yourself a hero, boy. You are nothing against the darkness that I command." He raised his arms, calling forth a tempest of shadows. The ground split, revealing chasms of swirling nothingness. With a fierce determination, Anubis stood his ground, feeling the weight of destiny pressing against his chest. "I am not afraid of you," he yelled, feeling the pulse of the sacred flame within him ignite. "I am destined to protect this realm." With a surge of strength, Anubis lunged, his spear aimed at Seth's heart. But the dark god twisted, a whirlwind of chaos, evading the strike with malevolent grace. "Foolish boy," Seth hissed, countering with a thrust of shadowy tendrils, seeking to ensnare Anubis in their deadly grip. But Anubis was quick, weaving through the tendrils, sensing the very fabric of fate bending and shifting with each step. "I will not be your pawn," he roared, striking back with the fire of the sacred flame illuminating his path. Each thrust of his spear was a declaration of defiance, each movement a testament to the resilience of Kemet. The warriors rallied around him, their collective strength rekindling hope. They formed a wall of light against the encroaching darkness, pushing back the tide of chaos inch by inch. Together, they shouted, the sound rising like a chorus of thunder against the night. In the heart of the chaos, Osiris confronted Seth once more. "This ends now, brother. You can still choose to embrace the light." His voice was a mix of sorrow and strength, echoing through the cacophony of the battlefield. "Embrace the light. I would sooner embrace oblivion." Seth screamed, summoning a storm more furious than before, the clouds roiling above, churning with impending doom. "I will drown Kemet in darkness and your precious souls with it." But in that moment, as the shadows surged, A flicker of doubt appeared in Seth's eyes. For in his heart, a memory stirred, a time when the brothers had laughed together, when the world had been painted in hues of hope instead of despair. Osiris seized the moment. "Remember who you are. You were once the guardian of this realm, my brother. You do not have to be the harbinger of destruction." He stepped closer, a radiance enveloping him, illuminating the darkness around them. But Seth, fueled by his own darkness, refused to relent. "You do not know me. I am the chaos that fuels life. I will not be swayed." He unleashed a torrent of energy, a cataclysmic wave that surged toward Osiris, who stood resolute, prepared to meet the storm. "Then I will shield this land with my very essence," Osiris declared, raising his staff, channeling the divine energy of the temple. The light surged through him, a radiant barrier that met Seth's chaos head-on. The collision sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, warriors falling to their knees as the very ground trembled beneath their feet. The air crackled with energy, a maelstrom of light and darkness spiraling around them, a dance of fate that hung in the balance. Anubis, feeling the weight of the struggle, turned his gaze toward the temple's sacred flame, its flickering heart still alive in the storm. "We will protect this light," he cried, rallying the warriors once more. "Kemet will not fall while we stand united." With every ounce of strength, he surged forward, joining Osiris in a final push against the tempest of chaos. Together, they lifted their hands, channeling the flame's energy, creating a radiant beacon that cut through the darkness like a sword of the gods. "Feel the light of Kemet." They roared in unison, their voices intertwining, echoing across the battlefield. The darkness writhed and shrieked, the shadows recoiling from the purity of their combined strength. Seth's eyes widened, a flicker of fear breaking through his fury. "No, this cannot be," he shouted, the storm beginning to fracture, his grip on chaos slipping as light filled the space around him. But Osiris and Anubis pressed on, determined to reclaim their brother from the depths of despair. "You are not alone, Seth," Osiris shouted, his heart filled with a mixture of love and sorrow. "You can still choose to come back. Together, we can restore balance." In a moment of vulnerability, Seth faltered, the tempest around him wavering, as if caught in a struggle between light and darkness. I, he stammered, the shadows hesitating, flickering as if unsure of their master's commands. In that heartbeat, Anubis seized the opportunity. "Join us, brother. The light is stronger with you. We can create a new dawn together." His voice, filled with compassion and hope, cut through the chaos, resonating in the depths of Seth's tormented soul. With a final surge of strength, Osiris and Anubis unleashed a torrent of light that enveloped the battlefield, illuminating the hearts of every warrior and priest present. The darkness quaked, a primordial fear surfacing within its depths. Seth, caught in the crucible of light and shadow, felt the warmth of his brother's love pierce through his icy heart. "No!" he screamed, but the darkness around him began to dissolve, unraveling under the weight of truth and unity. As the final remnants of the storm dissipated, the Temple of Oz, Part 4, the shattering of shadows, the battlefield trembled and the very air crackled with tension. Shadow upon shadow writhed as Seth, the god of chaos, fought against the radiant light emanating from Osiris and Anubis. The Temple of Osiris, once a beacon of hope, now stood at the heart of a storm, a maelstrom of divine wrath and dark ambition. "Your light is but a flicker, Osiris," Seth roared, his voice layered with contempt, weaving through the chaos like a serpent. "I will extinguish it and let chaos reign." With a primal howl, Seth unleashed a torrent of darkness, summoning forth monstrous entities that twisted and shivered through the air. These were not mere beasts, they were echoes of nightmares, formed from the deepest fears of mortals and the remnants of lost souls. Their eyes glowed with an insatiable hunger, and their claws dripped with malice. "Defend the temple," Osiris shouted, his voice resonating above the clash of chaos and order. The priests gathered their energies, their chants rising like a sacred hymn, fortifying the wards that sustained the temple's power. Each syllable sparked the air, creating barriers of light that pushed back the encroaching shadows. Anubis, emboldened by the light of the sacred flame, charged forward, his spear gleaming like a sunbeam amidst the storm. "For Kemet, for the light," he cried, thrusting his spear into the belly of a lurking shadow beast. The creature shrieked, as if its very existence were being unraveled and dissolved into smoke. The warriors around him roared, their hope rekindled by his courage, launching themselves into the fray. Yet as the battle raged on, Seth cut a striking figure at the heart of chaos. "Foolish mortals, you will learn that this world thrives on disorder." He unleashed a tempest of dark energy, a swirling vortex that sucked the very light from the air, leaving only despair in its wake. "Anubis, we must confront him," Osiris called, his heart aching at the sight of his brother twisted in the throes of chaos. "Together, we can reach the light within him. Right beside you, my god," Anubis shouted, determination burning brightly in his chest. He sprinted towards his mentor, dodging the claws of another approaching beast. With every step, he felt the pulse of the temple's flame intertwine with his own heartbeat, urging him forward. As they approached Seth, Osiris raised his staff high, the ankh glowing with a fierce light. "Seth," he called out, his voice softening with concern. "This does not have to be your path. We can still save you from the darkness." Seth's laughter echoed, a chilling sound that rattled the very foundation of the temple. "You think I am lost? I am reborn in chaos. I am power incarnate." He convoked the shadows around him, forming them into a monstrous cyclone that whipped towards Osiris and Anubis. "Step back," Anubis shouted, his heart racing. He leapt forward, spear ready, channeling all of his energy into a focused strike. "This ends now, Seth." His words were a challenge, filled with the vitality of youth. The cyclone struck and Osiris raised his staff, creating a shield of radiant light around them. The impact was like thunder, shockwaves rippling through the air, knocking warriors to their knees. "We will not falter," he declared, his voice rising above the chaos. The light pulsed, a heartbeat of resilience against the encroaching shadows. Anubis, fueled by the sacred flame's power, shifted and maneuvered, finding openings in the shadows. "Stay strong," he urged the warriors, his heart racing, every thrust of his spear a link in the chain of destiny binding them all. Seth, feeling the shift of momentum, turned his furious gaze toward Anubis. "You think you can claim victory? You are but a child in a storm." He hurled a wave of dark energy, aiming to crush Anubis beneath its weight. But in that moment, a flicker of doubt crossed Seth's eyes, a memory of laughter, of love shared with his brother before envy consumed him. Osiris, sensing this, pressed on. "Remember, brother, when we played together under Ra's warm gaze? We were once united by a purpose greater than ourselves." The shadows hesitated, wavering as if caught in the grip of an unseen force. Anubis seized the moment, bolstered by Osiris's words. "You can still choose to embrace the light, Seth. We can rise together." The cyclone faltered and a glimmer of light pierced through the darkness, revealing a flicker of Seth's former self. "No," he shouted, anger boiling. Yet amidst his fury lay a trace of sorrow, a conflict raging within him. "Join us," Osiris implored, stepping closer, his heart aching for the brother he once knew. "The darkness does not define you. Let us restore balance to Kemet." Seth's grip on chaos faltered further, but in his heart brewed a storm of conflicting emotions. "You think your light can save me?" He spat, tears of rage mingling with fear. "You are lost." "No, brother," Anubis shouted, thrusting his spear forward, now imbued with the power of the temple's flame. "You are not lost. You are still my brother." With a powerful thrust, Anubis struck the ground, causing ripples of divine energy to emanate from his spear. They surged through the battlefield, enveloping warriors and priests alike, igniting their spirits with hope as luminous as the sun. "Feel the warmth of Kemet," he cried, the flame intertwining with each heartbeat, empowering them against the darkness. "Stop this," Seth screamed, desperation flooding his voice as the shadows twisted and churned, their power waning against the light. "You will suffer for this betrayal." Osiris stepped forward, the light around him growing brighter. "I do not wish for your suffering, brother. I wish for your return." As he spoke, he felt the ancient pulse of the temple guiding him, the glyphs glowing as they absorbed the energy around them. The warriors surged forward, emboldened by their gods. "For Kemet, for the light," they bellowed, a chorus of defiance against the storm of chaos. Seth, caught in the grip of his own darkness, felt the weight of their resolve. "You cannot defeat me," he cried, yet his voice trembled, caught between fury and fear. "Then join us, brother," Anubis shouted, holding his spear high, the flame illuminating the shadows. "We will fight for you." In that moment, a single tear escaped Seth's eye, coursing down his cheek as memories of laughter echoed through his mind. I remember," he whispered, his voice breaking as the cyclone faltered, shadows swirling around him like frightened children. Osiris took a cautious step forward, allowing love and compassion to reach out to the heart of chaos. "Remember who you are, Seth. You were meant to guard this realm, not destroy it. Together, we can create a new dawn." With a primal roar, Seth wrestled against the tide of light, his heart a battlefield of conflicting emotions. "No, I will not be confined." He summoned the remnants of chaos, dark tendrils coiling around him, but the light pushed back, ever relentless. The warriors of Kemet united behind their gods, their voices a tapestry of courage that filled the air. "We are one, we stand together, for Kemet." In that moment, Anubis felt the energy of the sacred flame surge within him, igniting his spirit. "Stand with us, Seth. The light is stronger with you." And in the eye of the storm, a flicker of hope ignited within Seth's heart, glimmers of warmth piercing the cold that had consumed him for so long. I do not wish for ruin," he cried, the shadows around him beginning to wane, flickering like candle flames in the wind. Osiris stepped closer, reaching out. "Then let the darkness fall away, brother. Let us restore balance." With a final surge, Anubis hurled his spear toward Seth, not as a weapon, but as a conduit of light. It struck the ground at Seth's feet, sending a wave of radiant energy coursing through him, unraveling the chains of shadow that had bound him for so long. "No," Seth gasped, his eyes widening as the power surged through him, illuminating the darkness within. I remember." The shadows began to dissolve, retreating from the light with anguished cries, as Seth found himself standing at the threshold between light and darkness. "I do not wish for chaos," he bellowed, a mixture of fear and relief flooding his voice. Osiris and Anubis stood united, their hearts filled with hope. "Then come back to us, embrace the light." With a final roar, Seth raised his arms, the dark storm dissipating into a whirlwind of shimmering shadows that evaporated under the radiance of the temple. "I choose the light," he cried, his voice echoing across the battlefield. At that moment the storm broke, the dark clouds dissipating too,